All right, so hello and welcome to Mojo Story. A big news day it is turning out to be, as we are receiving 50 more MPs have been suspended today from the parliament. कल शाम तक जो खबर हम लोगों ने आप तक पहुंचाई थी, 78 एमपी सस्पेंड कर दिए गए थे, जिसके अंदर 45 एमपीज जो मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट है वो राज्यसभा से थे और 33 एमपीज वर फ्रॉम लोकसभा। उसको मिलाकर टोटल 78 78 मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट सांसदों को सस्पेंड किया गया था कल। उससे पहले 14 दिसंबर को भी 14 एमपीज को सस्पेंड कर दिया गया था, जो कि कुल मिला के ये आंकड़ा 92 पहुंच चुका था। और एक दिन में 78 एमपी, सबसे ज्यादा मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट का सेम डे सस्पेंशन का रिकॉर्ड भी कल सामने निकल कर आया था। आज तकरीबन 24 घंटे से भी पहले दोबारा एक खबर सामने आई है, जब पार्लियामेंट से 50 एमपीज को और सस्पेंड कर दिया गया है। और अब ये टोटल नंबर ऑफ एमपीज जिनको सस्पेंड कर दिया गया है, लोकसभा और राज्यसभा दोनों हाउसेस को कंसीडर करते हुए, ये 142 पहुंच चुका है। ये एक बड़ा नंबर सामने निकल कर आ रहा है। क्यों इनको सस्पेंड किया गया, अगर आपको बेसिक ब्रीफ में मैं आपको बताना चाहूं तो पार्लियामेंट की प्रोसीडिंग्स को इंटरप्ट करने के लिए, ब्रीच ऑफ प्रोसीडिंग्स के लिए इनको सस्पेंड किया गया है। पार्लियामेंट के अंदर लोकसभा स्पीकर होते हैं, अभी स्पीकर ओम बिरला साहब है, उनके पास राइट होता है किसी भी एमपी को सस्पेंड करने का। जो पीपल्स रिप्रेजेंटेटिव एक्ट है उसका रूल नंबर 343 और रूल नंबर 374 क्लॉज ए के तहत ये सस्पेंशन इंप्लीमेंट किए गए हैं। आगे शो में जरूर इनके बारे में डिटेल में बात करेंगे कि क्या ये रूल्स कहते हैं, किस पावर के तहत इन लोगों को सस्पेंड किया गया है जो एमपीज है। कोरम मेंटेन हो पाएगा या नहीं। कोरम क्या होता है, 10% नंबर होता है जिसको मेंटेन करना जरूरी होता है। इन सभी नंबर्स पे डिटेल में बात करेंगे, लेकिन इस वक्त की जो सबसे बड़ी खबर है आज की वो ये है कि 50 नए सांसदों को और सस्पेंड कर दिया गया है पार्लियामेंट से। अब टोटल आंकड़ा 142 पहुंच चुका है। लोकसभा से अभी मुझे जो अपडेट मिल रहा है हमारी टीम के द्वारा कि 141 है, मैं अपने आप को करेक्ट करना चाहूंगा, 141 एमपीज हैव बीन सस्पेंडेड। लोकसभा से 96 और उसके अलावा राज्यसभा से भी तकरीबन 40-41 एमपीज को, 45 एमपीज को सस्पेंड कर दिया गया है। ये इस वक्त का सबसे बड़ा अपडेट है। लोकसभा से अलग अलग रिएक्शन सामने आ रहे हैं। जो लीडर्स हैं, जो मेंबर्स ऑफ पार्लियामेंट है, वो इस पूरी खबर पर किस तरीके से रिएक्ट कर रहे हैं, वो रिएक्शंस आप तक जरूर पहुंचाएंगे। सबसे पहले एक बाइट मैं आपको सुनाना चाहूंगा जो लोकसभा से निकल के सामने आया, जिसके अंदर इस पूरे सस्पेंशन को लेकर बात की गई है और जो हालिया सबसे बड़ा खबर है, कंटेम्प्रेरी न्यूज है, उसके ऊपर एक मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट है जिनका ये बाइट मैं आप तक एक बार सुनाना चाहूंगा।
Sir, I beg to move the following, that this House having taken a serious note of the misconduct of Sri V. Vethlingam, Sri Gurjit Singh Ojala, Srimati Supriya Sule, Sri S.S. Ulaka, Sri Adur Prakash, Dr. Abdul Samand Samdani, Sri Manish Tiwari, Sri Pradyut Barodolai, Sri Girdhari Yadav, श्रीमती गीता कोरा, श्री फ्रांसिस्को सेरेडिना, श्री एस जगदरक्षण, श्री एस.आर. प्रतिभन, श्री फारूक अब्दुल्ला, श्रीमती ज्योत्सना महंत, श्री ए. गणेश मूर्ति, श्रीमती माला राय, श्री पी. वेलुस्वामी, श्री ए. चेले कुमार, श्री शशि थरूर, श्री मोहम्मद सदीक, श्री एम के विष्णु प्रसाद, श्री पी मोहम्मद फैजल, श्रीमती सजदा अहमद, श्री जसवीर गिल, डॉक्टर कार्ति चिदम्बरम, श्री सुदीप बंदोपाध्याय, श्रीमती डिम्पल यादव, श्री हसनैन मुर्शिदी, श्री दानिश अली, श्री खैलुर रहमान, श्री राजीव रंजन सिंह, श्री DNB सेंथिल कुमार, श्री संतोष कुमार, श्री दौलचंद गोस्वामी, श्री रणवीर सिंह बिट्टू, श्री दिनेश चंद्रा यादव, श्री के सुधाकरण, श्री अमोल खोले, श्री सुशील कुमार रिंकू एंड श्री महाबली सिंह MP एंड श्री सुनील कुमार सिंह, श्री ST हसन, श्री M धनुष कुमार, श्रीमती प्रतिभा सिंह, श्री थोल तिरुमावलम, श्री चंद्रशेखर प्रसाद, श्री आलोक कुमार सुमन, श्री दिलेश्वर कामत MP in utter disregard to the House and authority of the chair.
All right. So this, ladies and gentlemen, was Arjun Ram Meghwal, the Minister of State for Parliamentary Affairs. He was reading out the names किन MPs को suspend कर दिया गया है. So there are a lot of MPs who have been suspended today. There is a long list of MPs. Meanwhile, I am also joined by my senior colleague Zafar Iqbal. Zafar, 141 total MPs collectively, like from Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, have now been suspended. It is a huge number. Please correct me if I'm wrong. As far as I can remember, it is a record suspension for MPs in a tenure in a parliamentary proceedings. How do you look at it? All of them have been suspended for interrupting the parliamentary proceedings, as we could hear Arjun Ram Meghwal as well, and the other sources are also confirming the same. Zafar, how do you want to
Right,
reiterate about it?
right. Yes, Harshit, it's very unprecedented. Such a large number of MPs who have been suspended from both the houses of the parliament. Now, there is a context to it. Why have they been suspended? What is their demand? What is government saying? The point is that a few days ago there was an intrusion into parliament, as we covered that story, and so did everybody else. There were a couple of people who entered inside the parliament. They were carrying canisters, and they that emitted smoke in the parliament. You can see on those visuals. There were MPs who trashed them inside the house, and they were later detained. There were a couple of other people outside who were detained at that point in time. Then a series of incidents took place. Many others were also detained. Now, that is the context to all of this. Now, these opposition MPs are saying that let the Home Minister make a statement inside the Parliament. And then, of course, they will go ahead and sit in their respective houses for bills to be passed. There has to be a discussion inside the parliament. Remember, there are important bills slated. There is the Criminal Procedure Act bill, that is there. There's the Telecom Act bill. Those are important bills. But for now, what's happening is that the Home Minister has spoken, but he's spoken to a private television news channel. He has said that, of course, the Speaker has taken cognizance of what happened in Parliament. A committee has been formed. The Prime Minister has also spoken. Now we're getting information that at the parliamentary party meeting, Prime Minister Modi said whatever happened in Parliament recently, those who believe in democracy will not accept such an act. This act should have been condemned. However, unfortunately, what I have been witnessing, that the opposition is letting out its frustration of losing in the election and giving political spin to the entire act. They are even giving muted and indirect support to their act, and this is worrisome. The act of opposition of giving support to the act and saying things like what else they could have done is worrisome and condemnable. Now, those are BJP sources who have put those details out. The question is that what happens now? The big question is that if at all there is a discussion about the bills in the parliament, will a quorum be maintained? That's such a large number of MPs who have been put out. The common slogan of all these MPs is that they mention the word Tanashahi, dictatorship. They're saying that this is a dictatorship and government is using all the agencies and controlling those agencies to target the opposition. That's the point that they are raising. The question is that if the Home Minister has made a statement to a private channel, opposition is saying that why can't the Home Minister do the same in the on the floor of the House to de-escalate the situation? But for now, it seems that the situation is not de-escalating; it's escalating further. With so many MPs being suspended today, it's not going to end here.
Right, absolutely. And as far as the quorum is concerned, I think it is a pretty relevant issue to talk about. Why? Because as far as I'm aware, not all of the India Alliance MPs from Lok Sabha have been suspended, but yes, a majority of the MPs from the India Alliance have been suspended from Lok Sabha. Now, the quorum, as far as quorum is concerned, is there going to be a situation where 10% of the total MPs are not going to be there in the opposition? Are we still going to figure out who is going to be the leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha? As far as the quorum is concerned, Zafar, would you like to highlight a bit on it? Are we
Yes,
going to
yes.
lose the quorum as far as we are concerned with Lok Sabha?
Harshit, it all depends what's going to happen here on. Will more MPs be suspended? Will this be the end? Will what is there is no certainty. Maybe more MPs will get suspended, and then the question of quorum will arise. But for now, it seems to be a situation that is refusing to de-escalate, to diffuse. You can see all those opposition MPs sitting on the stairs and protesting. Clearly, they are saying that the Home Minister should make the statement in the Parliament, but the government seems to be very has taken a stand that, of course, that committees have already been established and it's the speaker's prerogative. These things have happened in the past also. That is what the government says. But today we've seen MPs like Farooq, Abdullah, Shashi, Tharoor also uh, being suspended, and they are saying clearly that they are in support of the MPs who were suspended earlier. So your question, there's no clear answer to it. What's going to happen
Right.
next? Will more MPs be suspended? And if more MPs will be suspended, then perhaps that genuine question will rise, that what happens to the quorum of the House, and will those important bills be passed after that?
Right. And meanwhile, what we can see is there are a number of MPs who are reacting to this particular situation right now. Shashi Tharoor, the INC MP, has also reacted to it on his social media platform. As we can see, he has written, for the first time in the parliamentary career of nearly 15 years, I too entered the well of the House holding a placard calling for a discussion on the recent security breach. I did so out solidarity with my INC India colleagues who have been unjustly suspended for demanding accountability from the government. I expect the suspension to follow. It is a badge of honor to be defenestrated by the unfair process. So this is what the MPs are reacting. TMC MP Mahua Moitra has also reacted to the situation. He has written total of 141 opposition MPs suspended. Next, Adani annual shareholders meeting to be held in Lok Sabha chamber. So these are some big accusations being made on the center government by the opposition MPs. Mahua Moitra has been from the very beginning, claiming the Adani relationships with the center government, and we all know about her cash for query case, whose report was recently, submitted in the Lok Sabha, which didn't come up in favor of Mahua Moitra. But besides from that, this is a big news coming up today. More MPs have been suspended today, which leads up to a total number of 141 MPs collective from Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha have now been suspended from the parliament. And the question of quorum still remains unanswered. Will there be a situation when the opposition will not be able to maintain the quorum? Will there be a situation when the opposition will not be able to announce the leader of opposition in the House? Let's see, let's wait and watch. As the first suggested, that are there going to be more suspensions further? Are there going to be more MPs who are to be suspended either from Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, or if we can consider to be them to be suspended from both the houses? These are some questions which are still unanswered. And just to remind you again, for the audiences who have joined us just now, more MPs yesterday, 78 MPs from both the houses were suspended. This was the largest number of MPs suspended in a single day. Now more MPs, nearly 50 MPs have been suspended. I'm not sure of the number precisely, but more MPs have been suspended today. This has led to a number of 141 MPs collectively from Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha have now been suspended from the parliament. And the question of quorum is unanswered in front of us. Will the opposition be able to maintain the quorum? All of them, all of the MPs have been suspended for interrupting the proceedings of the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. That was at least what we are being told. Also, when the security of breach in Lok Sabha happened, that incident happened, soon after the incident, the opposition MPs were demanding a proper validation, proper justification from the central government that how did this breach in security of Lok Sabha happen. Considering which there were protests outside the Lok Sabha, opposition MPs were holding placards in their hands. They were asking for certain, justifications and speeches from the Home Minister himself, which he did not actually answer to the questions of the opposition MPs as far as they are saying. But now the MPs have been suspended for interrupting the proceedings and for interrupting the protocol of the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, as far as the MPs who have been suspended are suggesting. Both the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha MPs have been suspended, referring to the rule number 373 and rule number 374 clause A of the Representative of People's Act, which suggests that if there is an interruption in the proceedings of either of the house, either Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, the presiding officer of the house. As far as Lok Sabha is concerned, the presiding officer is the speaker, who is Om Birla presently, and as far as the Rajya Sabha is concerned, the presiding officer is the chairman of the Rajya Sabha. So the presiding officer holds the power to suspend the MPs in case he finds the protocol and the proceedings of the house being interrupted by any MP for any particular reason. And this is what has actually happened. 141 MPs have now been suspended from both the houses. There are certain questions which are unanswered in front of us. Let's wait and watch. Let's see if more MPs are to be suspended, and will there be a situation where the opposition will lose the quorum in the house and they might not be in a situation where they can announce the leader of the opposition in the house. Zafar, is there anything else you want to add to it?
Yes, that there are other implications of what all this has happened. You saw when Moitra was expelled, the opposition parties came together. She was surrounded by Sonia Gandhi, by other top opposition leaders, and now this has given another anchor to the opposition members, to the opposition parties to come together. Remember, there's an India Alliance meeting happening, and definitely this question will come up. This will be the the main topic on the agenda of that meeting is going to be this only now, and this is given sort of a it is gelled together the opposition on one single issue. As I was saying, they have been repeatedly saying that Tanashahi nahi chalegi. They say that this is dictatorship that is going on. All that the opposition members are wanting is that the Home Minister must give a statement in the Parliament. So obviously, the other political fallout of all that is happening is that it will be a binding factor for the opposition parties, and that is going to be reflected in that meeting when that takes place, Harshit.
Right, absolutely. The India Alliance meeting, which is supposed to happen by the evening, it is actually going to be one of the main discussions in that meeting, I'm sure. Also, we have the bite of Centre Minister Prahlad Joshi, who has to react, who has given a statement on this suspension of the MPs. Can we have the bite, please? Prahlad Joshi. All right, I guess there are some issues with the production as of now. We'll move towards Prahlad Joshi's bite as soon as we are fixed with the technical stuff. Meanwhile, there are reactions of the MPs coming up. They are writing on their social media platforms. How do they think this suspension is actually going to, impact the democracy of India? There are a lot of MPs who are saying that this is the end of democracy because more than 140 MPs have now been suspended. Mahua Moitra, TMC MP, who has been in discussions for her cash for query case recently, she has also written that now 140 MPs of the opposition have been suspended from both the houses. The Adani shareholders meeting is going to happen in Lok Sabha pretty next. This is what Mahua Moitra had to say about the suspension of the MPs. We have got the Prahlad Joshi bite. Prahlad Joshi, the Centre Minister, has given a statement on the suspension of these MPs. Can we have the bite, please?
माननीय सभासदों, माननीय अध्यक्ष जी,
प्रश्नकाल प्रश्न संख्या 221 कृष्णपाल सिंह यादव,
प्रश्न संख्या 221
माननीय मंत्री जी उचित सभा पटल पर बैठे।
धन्यवाद अध्यक्ष महोदय। मैं प्रधानमंत्री जी और खेल मंत्री जी का धन्यवाद देता हूं, जिन्होंने बहुत ही विस्तार से जवाब दिया और खेलो इंडिया के माध्यम से पूरे देश में खेल कूद और युवा प्रतिभा को प्रोत्साहन देने का काम किया है। माननीय, मैं गुना लोकसभा क्षेत्र से आता हूं, जो कि एक आकांक्षी जिला है और उपयुक्त खेल सुविधाएं न होने के बावजूद मेरे क्षेत्र से 94 बच्चियों ने राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर और 5 बच्चियों ने विदेशों में जाकर अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर भारत का और मेरे लोकसभा का नाम रोशन किया है। मेरा माननीय मंत्री जी से प्रश्न है,
प्लीज
मेरा माननीय मंत्री जी
माननीय
से
सदस्य प्लीज। माननीय सदस्यगण, ये सदन आपका है और इस सदन को चलाने के लिए
सबक सिखाया है।
प्रक्रिया व्यवस्था से चलता है। आप ये मर्यादा करना चाहते हैं? पूरा देश आपकी इन व्यवहार को देख रहा है। ये देश का सबसे स्वच्छ लोकतांत्रिक संस्था है। माननीय सदस्य, मैं आग्रह करता हूं, सदन की मर्यादा को बनाए रखें। आपने जिस तरीके से सदन की मर्यादाओं को तोड़ा है, ये उचित नहीं है। मैं किसी भी माननीय सदस्य के खिलाफ कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करना चाहता, लेकिन सदन व्यवस्थाओं से चलेगा, नियमों से चलेगा, परंपराओं से चलेगा। फिर माननीय सदस्यों से आग्रह करता हूं, अंतिम चेतावनी दे रहा हूं
सर,
माननीय सदस्यों को, फिर अंतिम चेतावनी दे रहा हूं माननीय सदस्यों को, सदन की कार्रवाई।
सर
आप बोलना चाहते हैं जोशी जी?
जिन लोगों ने ऐसे माफ करके माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी का फोटो लाया है, ये बहुत ही खंडनार्ह है सर। आई स्ट्रांगली कंडेम दिस। जिन लोगों को जनता ने अभी जो चुनाव हुआ, इसमें इनका जो स्थिति क्या है उनको पता चल गया है। इनको जनता ने पूरा सबक सिखाया है। ये तो हारने का जो डेस्परेशन है, ऐसे माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी का, मोदी जी का ये फोटो मार्क करके ऐसे अपमान कर रहे हैं। लोग इसको सबक सिखाया है। जो लोग हारे हैं चुनाव में, जो बुरी तरह से हार गए हैं, वो लोग ऐसे व्यवहार कर रहे हैं। ये जो जनता ने, भारत के जनता ने माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी का नेतृत्व को स्वीकारा है। ऐसे व्यवहार करने से अभी जो इधर उधर चुन के आ रहा है 2-3 राज्य में, उस राज्यों से भी इन लोगों को लोग फेंक देते हैं सर। ये जो कर रहे हैं, ऐसे जो मार फोटो ला रहा है, ये तो मैं पूरा खंडन करता हूँ। पूरा सदन इसको खंडन करते हैं सर। तो और मैं आपसे रिक्वेस्ट करता हूँ, जो ऐसे फोटो लाया है उन लोगों से कार्रवाई होना चाहिए सर।
माननीय सदस्य प्लीज आसन में विराजें, प्रश्नकाल चलने दें।
All right, so this was a glimpse of what actually happened in Lok Sabha this morning. Speaker of Lok Sabha, Om Birla, was continuously giving a sort of warning to the opposition MPs who were somehow protesting or chanting slogans, either be it Tanashahi nahi chalegi, or it was a manner of protesting themselves. There was a poster of Prime Minister Modi which they brought to the Lok Sabha, outside the Lok Sabha, which Mr. Prahlad Joshi found objectionable, Zafar, and he clearly mentioned to the Lok Sabha Speaker that this is not acceptable. This will take as an insult to the Prime Minister of India, and there should be proper, actions that shall be taken up against these MPs of Lok Sabha. And later, very soon, it was announced that the more MPs from Lok Sabha have now been suspended. I would rather say the opposition MPs. So this was a glimpse of what actually happened. The Prime Minister's poster, the placard, which was brought outside the Lok Sabha. I would request the production if we can have that visual. Here it is, the placard where MPs, you can see Sharad Pawar, Rahul Gandhi, Mallikarjun Kharge, all are in this frame, and the placard which they are holding in this hand was found objectionable by Prahlad Joshi, the Centre Minister, asking the Lok Sabha Speaker to take a proper valid action up against the MPs who have bought these placards. Zafar, what do you have to say about it? Prime Minister Modi's placard.
Absolutely. You saw that poster. They were holding that poster outside of the parliament, where all of them came together and they are protesting. They are clearly stressing on their demand that the Home Minister must make a statement in the parliament. That's the demand that they have been emphasizing right from the first day. Now, the question is that the BJP has hit back. It is saying that it is the defeat of the opposition parties in the three crucial states that has brought about a sense of frustration. And this is the manifestation of that frustration. They are not being able to beat the BJP in the election. And now they are venting out their frustration by doing such things that they say that already a committee has been constituted. The committee is looking into the matter. All those findings will be made public. The speaker has taken a serious note of this issue. Now, clearly, the government, the BJP is really hitting out at the opposition. But as I was saying, this is given an anchor for the opposition parties to come together and to corner the government on this particular issue, which the government itself, the Home Minister and the Prime Minister, is saying
Yes.
is a very important development, that intruders entered into the parliament. This is a loophole that was existing and that need to be plugged
Yes.
now.
Yes. Yes. Yes, so this is what the whole issue is. Prime Minister Modi has actually also said that this, whatever happened in Parliament, the breach in security of Lok Sabha is not at all acceptable. But besides that, Safar, there's one more thing which we should be actually concerned about. What I believe is it's not all about the MPs of opposition who have been suspended. Also, it is not all about the protest the MPs were making, but I consider it to be as a collective failure. Isn't it a collective failure of the whole parliament? Why? Because there are crores of money being spent every day on the maintenance of the parliament, on the maintenance of the MPs, and that money is our money. It is people's money, and that is being spent on the parliament so that there can be fruitful discussions that can be held inside the parliament, either of the houses, be it Lok Sabha or be it Rajya Sabha. If there is no proceeding inside the parliament, if the MPs have been suspended, or be it vice versa, if the opposition continues to protest, there are no productive, fruitful discussions inside the parliament. Isn't it a collective failure of the whole parliamentary system? Isn't it a collective failure for those who have voted for these MPs, who are expecting some fruitful decisions, the people of this country who are expecting some productive decisions from these parliament, from both the houses? Isn't it a collective failure for both the whole democracy?
Absolutely, Harshit. There's no doubt about it that people send these parliamentarians into the parliament to discuss their issues, to have a debate, and then come to certain conclusions. And there is so much money that's involved in all this. That lots of money that's spent every day for the parliament to run. And when almost the entire session gets wasted in a particular issue, that's a clearly a big loss, and that's a loss of the people of this country. Of course, there, as I was saying, there are important bills pending, and there has to be some sort of a discussion on those bills. They will have far larger implications on the country. So, but if there is no discussion, there is no debate, their bills might get passed just like that, and that's not a good sign for a democracy. But
Absolutely.
clearly, the opposition and the government need to find a middle path, need to come on a common ground to resolve the issues. It cannot be that the opposition parties have taken one stand and the government has, treasury banks have taken another stand, and there is no middle ground. There has to be a middle ground in a democracy.
Absolutely. And if it continues to happen, there is going to be more loss of the people of this country who have voted to these politicians. They have elected them to be the member of parliaments. And now people are expecting some fruitful discussions. But meanwhile, Karthi Chidambaram, one of the MPs who have been suspended, has reacted to the whole suspension. Let's listen to what he's saying. All right, we might have the bite pretty soon. Karthi Chidambaram's social media handle on what he has written. What next in the parliament? Synchronized clapping like North Korea. There are some pretty serious allegations, pretty serious things being said about this whole suspension of the MPs. Karthi Chidambaram, who has been suspended today, has reacted to this situation, and he has asked, what next in parliament? Synchronized clapping like North Korea. Are we heading towards this kind of a situation where there is going to be a dictatorship, or I would rather say where there is going to be, some sort of benevolent despotism, as opposition MPs are suggesting continuously on the social media handles? Sharad Pawar has also tweeted. He has rather requested the Vice President of India, Shri Jagdeep Dhankar ji, to set up an urgent inquiry on the recent security lapse which happened a few days back, according to which the MPs were asking Prime Minister Modi's and specifically Home Minister Amit Shah's reaction, that how did this actually happen? What actually was the fault of the parliamentary security, and what could have been, more security concerns regarding to that breach? But the Home Minister did not give a statement inside the parliament, reacting to which the opposition MPs decided to protest. They decided to interrupt the proceedings of the parliament, resulting to which they were suspended from the houses respectively. In total, 141 MPs have now been suspended, to which they are reacting separately on their social media handles. This is not actually a very good situation for the whole democracy, I would rather say. Be it the opposition, be it the ruling government, be it the alliance, or the other MPs who have been elected. But this, in total, is leading to a situation where the people of this country are paying for. There are lakhs of money being invested inside the parliament for every minute. I'm not sure of the data precisely, but yes, there are some data that suggest that there is lakhs of money which is being invested for the electricity bill, for the food bill, for the maintenance, for the luxuries of the MPs, which they very seriously deserve, I would rather say. But this is all being done for some fruitful, productive discussions that are supposed to be happen inside the parliament. But if such kind of proceedings continue, if such kind of actions both from the opposition and from the ruling party continues, this is a pure loss for the people of this country and for the democracy. Zafar.
Yes, indeed. Just to recap our for our viewers that another set of MPs have today been suspended. This is as there has been a series of suspensions over the last few days, and now these MPs are outside of the parliament protesting. All this happened after the parliament intrusion, where two men entered inside the parliament and they were carrying canisters. They blew those canisters, some sort of a gas from that inside the parliament. They were nabbed, and their associates were also nabbed outside of the parliament. Entire module was nabbed by the police. They've all been detained. But ever since, the opposition has found an issue to corner the government. They've been asking for a home minister's statement in the parliament, and then we've been seeing a series of suspensions from the parliament today. Another set of MPs that have been suspended and they are protesting outside of the parliament. You can see from those visuals. That's the situation in the parliament. We'll have to wait and watch how the situation develops here on. But Harshit, it clearly doesn't seem to be getting resolved very soon.
Absolutely, I agree with you on this. It doesn't seem to be resolving pretty soon, and this is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. Let's wait and watch if there are more MPs to be suspended. How does this all gets resolved? What are the following proceedings that we are all going to witness? There are multiple reactions coming up. Manish Tiwari has written, Lok Raj is ruled by Lok Raj. Today, keeping the public order aside, Lok Raj was murdered. This is what Manish Tiwari has to say. There are multiple reactions that suggest that this is the murder of democracy, which we cannot comment upon for sure. Manish Tiwari, following his previous social media post, he writes in this post, and this is what he has to say: Lok Raj was murdered today, keeping the public order aside. So this is what it is. MPs have not been suspended. Democracy has been suspended. The most previous laws that will turn India officially into a police state will be passed today afternoon and over the next 3 days. This is actually a major concern, which we were also discussing, ladies and gentlemen, a few moments back. That are there going to be some bills that are going to be passed now, that are going to be discussed inside the Lok Sabha, and that is not actually going to be a discussion, because there are a lot of member of parliaments who are from opposition who have now been suspended, so they might not be able to participate in that particular discussions. So are there going to be some bills that are going to be passed now when their opposition MPs are not there? So there are a lot of questions that are supposed to be answers. Will there be maintenance of quorum? Will there be more MPs who are to be suspended by the evening or tomorrow probably? Will opposition be able to maintain the quorum? Why are these MPs being suspending? Will there be an inquiry, or will there be a reaction, or will there be a sort of committee that will actually take this whole matter into its concern, that will consider the whole suspension of the MPs? Was this a valid suspension? Are there some questions that will be asked from the Speaker of Lok Sabha, Om Birla, or will there be a proper solution to this conflict which we are witnessing for more than a week now? So this is it as of now. We'll see you soon in another episode, in another show, and leading you towards the new news. What is the new update in this whole conflict of the parliament? As of now, the latest update is 141 of the MPs collectively from Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha have now been suspended. 78 of them were suspended yesterday only, which was the largest number of MPs suspended in a single day. Today, more MPs have been suspended, which leads to the number of 141 total MPs have now been suspended. There are certain questions in front of us which are unanswered as of now. Will there be more bills that will be passed in the absence of the opposition MPs who have been suspended? Will the opposition be able to maintain the quorum inside the parliament? Who is going to be the leader of opposition if there is no quorum? Or will the opposition be able to consider or to consolidate that situation where they can announce the leader of opposition? There are multiple questions that are to be answered. But amidst all of this, it is for sure the people of India who are suffering. It is for sure the democracy of India who is suffering due to this unsolvable, which as of now seems to be unsolvable, conflict between the opposition and the ruling party in India. As of now, that's it from our side. We'll see you again in some other episodes. Till then, take care of yourselves. Thank you so much for watching.
Mojo Story has always made a commitment to its viewers to go to where the story is. And as you can see here, we are at the epicenter of the Israel war on Gaza. We are right at the front line, about 1 mile from the Gaza Strip, as the Israeli military gets ready with its tanks and its gunners to begin its final frontal assault that will take troops into Gaza. As we said, we are not like other organizations. We believe in giving you all sides of the story objectively and as much as possible from the ground. And that's exactly what we're doing here, covering the biggest global story today from the epicenter of the war zone. So please, we need your support. Support us, become a Mojo member, subscribe to us, spread the word, and thank you for your support.